Greetings this afternoon. I am delighted to introduce you to Darrin Williams, the CEO of Southern Bancorp. Darrin comes to us after a career as a lawyer and a former legislator who is now the CEO of Southern Bancorp, one of the largest and rural community development finance institutions in the United States that serves the Arkansas and Mississippi Delta. Darrin will be talking with us today about how his legal training and experience has benefited and influenced his decision-making as the CEO of Southern Bancorp. Following Darrin's remarks, we're going to hear from two respondents, Lori Spangler and Aaron Borg. Take it away, Darrin.
Thank you, Professor Burand. It is truly an honor to be with you all today. What an honor to have this opportunity to participate in such an important conference. The Grunin Center's mission to enhance the community of lawyers and legal institutions engaged in social entrepreneurship and impact investing is vital and timely, particularly given the unprecedented 15 months that we have been living through and continue to live through. The dual pandemics of the COVID-19 virus that has wreaked havoc across America and disproportionately impacting people of color and under-resourced communities, as well as the pandemic of systemic racism that has allowed a police officer to kneel on the neck of George Floyd for some 9 minutes and 29 seconds. These and other social and environmental problems, they are so in need of lawyers and social entrepreneurs and impact investors to help solve through their creative and innovative and scalable solutions like those that lawyers have long engaged in and who've helped to imagine and help to shape, help to advance solutions. So this is very important and innovative work of the Grunin Center, and I'm just excited and happy to be here. Having had the opportunity to judge the 2019 Grunin Prize, it is such a pleasure to again be with Professor Burand and Professor Helen Scott, as well as Dean Trevor Morrison. I truly enjoyed my time as a judge of the Grunin Prize. And let me also pause and, of course, say thank you to the Grunin family who, in large part, make this conference, this prize, and this important convening possible. I had the pleasure of getting to know Jay Grunin during the judging in the 2019 conference and having a chance to deliberate with him over those finalists. It was a very, very tough thing that we did, but it was a rewarding experience. So I know firsthand how difficult the judges this year will have to choose between the wonderful finalists that we have today. To all the finalists, let me first offer my thank you for your contributions. You've used your knowledge and your skill to produce positive benefits for people, for communities, and for our planet. And for that, I'm truly grateful. As lawyers, we do, at our highest calling, use our knowledge and our skill, not for our own benefit, but really we use that in trust for the benefit of the larger community. And that's what you've done. And I just want to thank you for that. As lawyers, we're engaged in the fields of social entrepreneurship and impact investing. You are, as Justice Berger said, you are the healers of conflicts and the providers of the lubricants that permit the diverse parts of social order to function with a minimal amount of friction. And to that, again, we say thank you. Now, the 6 themes that make up this year's conference that you've explored over the last day and a half, they are so timely and very relevant to my own work as a lawyer now turned social entrepreneur and impact investor who chooses to try to work to eradicate poverty and help build more resilient, more inclusive economies. And to be that lubricant that I just talked about, I so closely identify with the themes of this year's conference as CEO of Southern Bancorp. And if you would allow me, I'd like to tell you just a little about Southern Bancorp and how my legal training and the themes that you've explored today, how they intersect. I'm going to share my screen and show you just a few slides about Southern Bancorp. So at Southern Bancorp, we are really a bank on a mission. We try to deliver responsible and responsive products and financial services to underserved communities. We serve in the Arkansas, Mississippi Delta, one of the most persistently poor communities of all the United States. And we're really comprised of three organizations. We're comprised of Southern Bancorp Inc., the holding company, and Southern Bancorp Bank, the wholly owned bank. And Southern Bancorp Community Partners, the nonprofit CDFI loan fund and financial development partner of our institutions. Collectively, we say we have one Southern and we're on one mission. We have some 30 years of history being a development bank modeled after Shore Bank, the first development bank in the country operating on the south side of Chicago. It was back in the mid-1980s when then Governor Bill Clinton recognized Shore Bank and invited the folks from Chicago to Arkansas to model an institution very much like Shore Bank that would work to provide opportunities for those who have been left out and left behind, for communities that have been forgotten. And so today, we are 1.9 billion in assets. We have some 480 plus employees across 52 locations throughout Arkansas and Mississippi. We are a certified community development financial institution by the Department of Treasury. We're also a certified B Corp, a member of the Community Development Bankers Association, and we are organized as a legal benefit corporation. And again, the communities that we serve are some of the most persistently poor communities of all the United States. And you can see that on this slide, the deeper the red, the deeper the poverty. And we work in some of the most poverty-stricken communities. And the virus that spread throughout the world had and continues to have and is expected to have a disproportionate impact on the markets that we serve. In the bottom slide, you see the COVID-19 Vulnerability Index. And this is an index by the Sergo Ventures Foundation that looks at the long-term impacts of COVID-19, not just the health effects, but the educational, the economic, and as well as the broad impact of what COVID-19 may have on the communities. And you can see in the markets that we serve, it's expected that this virus will have significant impact. And so we work to really try to build communities and change lives in these very underserved markets. Our theory of change really is based on the fact that economic opportunity, or net worth is its proxy, is what really drives and moves people from poverty to prosperity. Pew has this study that says 70% of the people who are born in poverty never make it out. It becomes intergenerational. So if your grandmother was poor, your mother was poor, you have about a 70% chance of also living in poverty throughout your life. Pew looked at the 30% of folks who actually made it out of poverty. And what was unique about that 30% is they had some form of net worth. That might have been a home that had equity, and they took the equity out of that house to send a kid to college, and that broke the cycle of poverty. Or it may have been the equity taken out to start a small business that really changed the trajectory of the financial wherewithal of that family. And so we focus on proven net worth building strategies of homeownership, of job creation, retention, and on empowering people to save and accumulate assets. Now, we do a lot of work, and we often start off with why. Clearly, we're a bank, we're a financial institution, and we use the combination of these three entities to deliver positive results. But at the heart of our work is why we do that work. And we do this work to really transform lives. We say that we are wealth builders for everyone. We believe that everyone, no matter what zip code you live in, no matter whether it's rural or urban, everyone should have an opportunity to realize their American dream. And so we consider ourselves not just bankers, but truly wealth builders for everyone. So now that you know a little bit about Southern Bancorp, I'd like to quickly take you on a journey over the last 8 years of my time as CEO. I hope you will see how my legal education training has influenced my work as a social entrepreneur and as an impact investor. And I want to demonstrate how the themes that you all have talked about over the last day and a half, they really have impacted and influenced my work. So when I came to Southern Bancorp from practicing law and having been a legislator, I inherited what I call the CDFI problem. CDFIs had been around for years, but that we had several challenges that faced and continue to face CDFIs. So at Southern, we had a very complicated capital structure. We had a limited ability to scale. We really had no exits for our investors, and the capital that we had that made up Southern had been with us for some 30 years. And we know that patient capital should not be permanent capital. And then in the entire CDFI industry, there really was no standard measurement for impact. There was clearly a way to measure our financial return, but our mission return, there was no standard or uniform way to measure impact. And so really we tried to build a new CDFI model. And these solutions were designed with the support and assistance of a number of folks, including some very, very sharp and bright attorneys who both work at Southern Bancorp and who we also consulted with. One of whom you'll hear from later today, Lori Spangler, who assisted us and advised us through this process, really trying to solve, and what we think we've done, built a new model for CDFIs. So first, this complicated capital structure that we had 6 different classes of common stock authorized, 5 were issued, each one of them having a little different treatment. So our instrument was not marketable. We needed truly to restructure, as you talked about in one of your things, we needed to restructure our capital stack. And so we actually collapsed those 6 classes of common stock into one through a shareholder vote. And we reached out to one of our largest shareholders, the Kellogg Foundation, and they were willing to convert their preferred stock into common stock. And that really helped to launch our capital campaign and our restructuring of our complicated capital stack. And in order to build more resilient communities in these very persistent poor communities that we serve, we needed to access additional capital. We had not much ability to scale because we could not raise additional capital. And without additional capital, we were not going to be able to build those resilient communities and to help those under-resourced communities that we so enjoy to serve. We had taken about $33.8 million in CDCR, or what you may commonly remember as TARP debt. And that debt had a 2% coupon. But in 2018, that coupon was going to rise to 9%. And that was going to be a challenge for the organization. So we could have paid that coupon, but really could not have done much more. And so we were in desperate need of new capital. And as we began to talk to investors and contemplate and work through this capital campaign in a sounding board round, we quickly realized, in talking to investors and putting the lens of an impact investor on, we quickly realized that we had to solve for exits, because we knew patient capital was not permanent capital. And so we had to find a way to solve for the ability to exit, not just return on, but a return of capital for investors. And then as the bank, we were concerned, looking at this from our lens, we were concerned that we would lose control by inviting and accepting new shareholders. We might lose control of our mission, and we wanted desperately to protect our mission. And so we became a public benefit corporation to make it clear that that was our mission. And having been a former securities litigation attorney on the plaintiff side, suing publicly traded companies and even banks, yes, I've gone from suing banks to running a bank, but having been a private securities litigation attorney and really having brought shareholder derivative litigation on behalf of my clients against boards, I knew that it was important to protect our board from their deep desire to have not just a margin impact, but to have a mission impact, to have that dual or double bottom line impact of both margin and mission. And so we became a legal public benefit corporation, later a certified B Corp as well. And then we really began this effort to raise new capital and seeking out new investors who would support our efforts. We also quickly realized that there was really no common standard of measurement among the CDFI industry. While we could clearly measure our financial impact, measuring our mission impact, there was no standard way of doing that across the industry. That's a problem that still exists today. But we, having solved that problem for ourselves, we created an accountability committee of our board of directors, and we really became very transparent about how we were going to try to solve for impact, how we were going to really build communities and change lives. And we really took our what we call big, hairy, audacious goals of trying to help 20,000 people obtain and stay in affordable housing, and helping to create and retain 120,000 jobs in our markets, and empowering 1 million people to save. Those became our metrics. We reached out to outside consultants to help us to think about and to measure those metrics and to be very transparent. But I will say that this lack of a standard metric or standard measurement for impact is a problem that still plagues the CDFI industry today. And in fact, it's one that is ripe for aspiring social entrepreneurs and lawyers to really help solve. And I hope that that's something that will happen. I want to, having done all this and built this new model, I want to tell you kind of the results of the work, all the things that we just outlined. The tools that we use were helped develop by attorneys who really wanted to help us unleash the power of the CDFI industry. And we have a new model that we think can be replicated by others. And so the results that we have seen from our work has been very positive. And let me quit sharing my screen here for a minute. We are extremely proud of the results that we've reached having built this new CDFI model. We have been able to raise some $40 million in common equity over the last several years from a diverse group of impact investors, including some of the largest institutional investors in America, including Bank of America and Prudential, and as well as family offices and foundation and high net worth individuals, and even regional and community banks have partnered with us. Even international investors, we've raised capital from the Sustainable Finance Real Economies Impact Investment Fund based in Luxembourg. So surely the work that we did, that really as a result of the creative and important work that lawyers helped us shape, has helped us to really unlock the ability to access this capital and to really grow and expand not only our impact, but our footprint. So we've grown over the last several years. We've acquired 3 additional community banks. We've grown by over 800 million in assets and about the same amount in our loan portfolio. And though we're loaning money in some of the most deeply impoverished communities of the United States, we have really outstanding loan quality and asset quality. And for the last 4 years, we've reached new heights in terms of net income, in terms of the margin impact that we have been able to produce. And with this increased impact, we've been able to help to really improve the financial lives and financial health and the communities that we serve. In 2020, we did some 7,022 loans, and 47.4% of those loans were for less than $10,000. Now, that's not a loan size that you can really be able to achieve at a larger bank, but in the markets we serve, it's that small loan, that small business person who actually needs access to capital in those increments, and we've been proud to be able to produce that. And we do a number of really high touch services. And so during the tax season, we've just finished the tax season. We actually have volunteer income tax assistance sites in all of our locations. And in those sites, this year, we did 3,088 tax returns for free for low wealth people, returning some $7.5 million to the markets we serve and assisting some 30% of our customers in accessing the earned income tax credit, one of the most anti-poverty, bipartisan anti-poverty programs in the country. That's about $2.5 million in EITC returns. And being able to create this new model position us well for what happened in 2020, these global pandemics of both racism and COVID and all the things that happened. And so during this time, we were able to respond and help build those resilient communities. And so at the height of the pandemic, when our businesses were closed and shuttered and suffering, we were able to provide about 18% of our $1 billion loan portfolio, some $180 million in COVID payment deferrals and relief, giving them an opportunity to pause their payments, to have reduced payments, and all in an effort to help them build back better once we return from this pandemic. Given the work that we've done, we're able to also have an opportunity to sit down really through a closed circuit link with the president, with Secretary of Treasury, and other officials, and talk about how it was so important that CDFIs and MDIs had access to the Paycheck Protection Program rolled out to really help employees keep their employers on the payroll and help them be able to pay their rent and to make payment, to put food on their tables. And proudly, we have done some 2,000 plus paycheck protection loans in this time for some more than $153 million and helped to support more than 15,000 employees, and help them stay on the payroll, help them continue to provide for their families. And so as the country shifted toward this real effort that I hope will be sustainable to advance racial equity, having seen George Floyd murder, now you see America, you see Americans, you see corporations, you see all walks of life really talking about advancing racial equity. And so we've been able to be at the forefront and participate in that discussion, having had discussions with members of the Business Roundtable and having created funds to serve minority businesses in our markets. We are responding in a way that is very meaningful and impactful to our markets. All this was unleashed because of the new model we were able to create, really with the skill and the assistance of lawyers who helped us produce this model. And so As we think about the future, our next challenge really is around environmental sustainability. As a mission-focused bank, we want to finance the change that we seek to see in America. We are members of the Global Alliances for Banking on Values, an international group of mission-focused financial institutions around the world. And we've learned our own footprint, but then we want to go and incentivize and encourage the people who we loan money to also reduce their carbon footprint, because we really want to finance the future that we want to see. And that's a cleaner, healthier environment. So while we've enjoyed this tremendous success using the tools and solutions that have been developed in part by lawyers and other skilled practitioners, the real impact of the real results really are on the lives of the people that we serve. So if you'd indulge me for 1 minute, I'd like to share with you one of our customer videos and let you hear how the work that we've done, again, inspired by the solutions that have been helped to be created by attorneys, how it has impacted the lives of the folks that we serve. And let me share this with you, please.
I love fresh vegetables. I always have. I always want children to know how things grow. Where do they come from? The property that we're on has been here since the 1800s. My great-great-great-grandfather was given this land by J.T. Robinson, who was the slave master of my great-great-great-grandfather. And he didn't have any children. So he left this land to my great-great-great-grandfather. I was sitting one day and the mailman, he's just blowing. And it were certified letters. And they were to my dad, Gene Thompson, and to my mom, Irma Jean Thompson. And I had to sign for it. And I said, sir, I don't want to sign my dad's name because he's deceased and my mom is ill and she can't sign. He said, well, you're going to have to sign. So I signed my name. I opened their mail. And I was like, foreclosure. And I'm trying to sit here and wonder why, because I'm thinking the house is paid for. Never thought that it was not paid for. The foreclosure, it kept going on and on, wanted to take the house. I said, you're not taking this house. And when I saw your sign that said, what if? I said, you know what? I'm just going just to see what if they can help me. That word if stuck with me. When I seen Vida, I said, both my parents are deceased. They left a home. It's in foreclosure. And that's when I told Vida, it's just not the house. It's the history behind the house that I'm trying to save. She said, I can help you. Don't worry about it. And my house was saved. This is nice. And I was talking about the help. What if a bank wasn't just a bank? I became the what if. What if this bank can take me with a low credit, show me how to budget my little income, still pay a mortgage, still pay a light bill, still pay medical bills, and still raise 2 boys without them even knowing anything is wrong? What if a bank wasn't just a bank? What if? And that I'm it. I'm the what if. I am. They help me.
So that's Cheryl Hampton's story. And there are countless other Cheryl Hamptons that we have the pleasure of serving on a daily basis. That's the true impact of the work that we are able to do. And it's made possible in large part because of skilled, talented attorneys and social entrepreneurs who allow us to be impact investors. I want to again thank the Grunin Center staff, NYU Law School, the co-host of this conference, the Impact Investing Legal Working Group, and of course the Grunin family for this center, for this conference, and for continuing to shine a light on the good work of lawyers and legal institutions engaged around the world. And finally, I want to congratulate this year's finalist. Your legal work makes me proud to be a member of the bar, and it helps make it possible for me to be a social entrepreneur and an impact investor. Thank you so very much.